So with the refugee crisis that we're seeing right now, has the private sector, have you had conversations about, I mean, McKinsey's the problem solver. So how do you think about the private sector in solving a problem like that? What are the opportunities? What are the ways?
Well, we are involved in that. Not as many people being involved in it. One way we've been involved is actually on when the refugees come into the country. So it's public knowledge, we're working with the German government because they just can't simply absorb the number of people that are coming in. It's just they don't have the processes. So it's almost lean operations are what are required to be able to just absorb people and make sure people are screened properly. They're given the proper places that they can go and so forth. But I think what we're also working on with others, actually Mercy Corps is involved in this in a very good way. The IRC, David Miliband, who's here in New York, is looking at where do we think the flows are moving. So our Global Institute's actually taking a look at where do we think migrant flows will be over the next 10 years. Because and what is it that you can then do to deal with at the source to prevent, if you will, not to block, it's more to stop people wanting to have to move and see it. So it's getting a strong sense of where do we think this migrant flow is going to increase or move to, and it's not just in Syria, which we're looking at in particular, but it's also Southeast Asia. I mean, Myanmar, there's a lot of terrible, sad things that are going on in the South China Sea with the migrants. I mean, Australia has been getting a lot of that effect. We think that will increase. And again, it's not driven so much by conflict, though that's been part of it in Myanmar with some of the rebels. It's actually been, again, lack of jobs, no opportunity. So groups of young people just betting on it to move, to find opportunity. So we're trying to map that to get a better sense of it. And then also, around these refugee camps you mentioned, there's some very significant ones in Jordan, 80,000 to 150,000 people. They're cities. There's a big one in, we were talking about this before the session, I don't know where Anna is, I can't remember the name of it. It's in Kenya, Sabab, I can't remember. It's a 300, do you guys know that one? It's 300,000 people that are there, and it's been there for so long that there are now grandchildren that are being born from original refs. So this is a city.
And you've done a lot of work around this, around conflict reconstruction, which is a whole other thing.
And also just, these places need mayors, right? You got to have a mayor, you got to have a police force, you've got to have hospitals. You need to have this because they're just so large. And that's another, that I think, again, that a lot of the flow is not, there's a fundamental reason for why it's happening that we need to look at and predict what it'll look like. But then there's these blockages, and I'd say again, these refugee camps simply can't take any more people. They have to move on. So how can we make those work more effectively? David Cameron's doing a big push right now to say, how can we, and this is again leveraging business, how can we have business be able to, if they will, buy more product, more of the food product from these parts of the world? Will that help create the jobs? These are just ideas, they're not nailed down.
Yeah, there was something I read in McKinsey paper, even the military purchasing power. There was, some of this can be as simple as the military channeling spending to local businesses. Somebody wrote that more than 9 years after the intervention in Afghanistan began, you could still find pallets of bottled water imported from the UAE on a U.S. base that's within a few miles of 3 local Afghan water bottling plants whose owners would welcome those contracts. So, that's again getting back to the notion of working together with the sectors. While I have you here, we're going to open it up for questions in a couple